All right. Sorry there, guys. All right. Holy Mackinac. Jakob Chychrun has been traded from the Arizona Coyotes to the Ottawa Senators. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. For a while there, we thought he was going to the LA Kings. There were a couple other teams possibly interested. I thought maybe Detroit could be in the mix as well. But here we have it. Jakob Chychrun, you are an Ottawa Senator. Welcome, guys. What another crazy day of NHL trades out there. And this is great. This is much better than what we saw last year. So we'll get into the trade in just a minute here. I just have to do a couple things on the YouTube side. I was, of course, broadcasting through StreamYard here. So just a minute here. Thank you so much for being here, taking your time to chat some hockey with us. But Jakob Chychrun, perhaps the last of the big dominoes at the NHL trade deadline, has finally fallen. I mean, just a second ago, I literally made a thumbnail of him going to the Red Wings. So anyway, great to have you guys here. It's been so fun covering this year. And of course, with just, about a month and a half until the playoffs start, it's great to see now we get to see a lot of these star players on different teams and getting a shot at the Stanley Cup. In the case of Chychrun, that shouldn't be the case so much. But then again, the Senators have been playing better in the second half of this season. So who do we have here in the chat? Just give me 1 sec to load that up. Samantha, Jake, CJ, Cardiac, Ernie, Zachary. How you guys doing? And of course, Patrick, you were first ones here. So thank you so much for being here. Let's get into the juicy details of this trade. We'll take a look at Jakob Chychrun's season as well. I'm just going to update this. Trade return to Arizona. Boom. Conditional 2023 first round pick, a 2024 second round pick via the Washington Capitals, and a 2026 second round pick. That is what I saw from the Ottawa Senators on social media. This true? Yes. Actually, I found this out through the Senators Twitter, and I just double checked to make sure that was actually indeed their account, and it is. It's absolutely true. How about that? What was the trade? Take a look at the ticker here at the bottom of this. Actually, let's make sure we can actually scroll it across. There we go. There it is. Come on now. All right, there we go. Okay, now we're cooking. All right. How many picks do the Coyotes have? Kevin, we'll take a look at that in just a moment here. Wow. Unbelievable. Ottawa of all teams. Did you guys think it was going to be Ottawa? It looked like it could be Los Angeles. It looks like it could be Edmonton. And then, of course, both of those teams traded for, in this case, Gavrikov going to the LA Kings. And then Matthias Ekholm yesterday, of course, going to the Oilers. And then we saw the crazy Filip Hronek trade to the Vancouver Canucks of all teams. And so I thought maybe there's a chance that Chychrun could be a Red Wing, as the team is still very alive in the playoff conversation. Any idea what the conditions are? Good question. I will be looking into that as well, okay? So yeah, there's still some information here. Literally 1 minute after the Senators put up the tweet, I decided, all right, let's go live and let's talk to all the beautiful hockey fans out there. Boo hiss boo. Not a particular fan. I hear you. Let's see here. Let me get my Twitter. Okay, there we go. We'll get there we are. Here's my Twitter feed here. So you can see this actually coming from the Ottawa Senators. Trade alert, the Sens have acquired defenseman Jakob Chychrun from the Arizona Coyotes in exchange for a conditional first-round pick in 2023, a conditional second-round selection in 2024, and a second-round pick in 2026. And yeah, if you want to take a look at what the Arizona Coyotes draft situation is, this is amazing. I mean, Cap Friendly might need to totally remake its website just based on what... Oh, cool. They even have the full... Here we go, guys. I'll show you something right here, okay? There we go. Okay. Let's take a look at this. Conditions. If Ottawa makes it to the Eastern Conference Final, the pick becomes a 2024 first-round top 10 protected. Okay, so basically this is telling me it's going to be a 2023 first-round pick because Ottawa probably doesn't even make the playoffs. If the pick is top 10, the pick becomes Ottawa 2025 first-round pick. Interesting. All right. And then you want to look at the Arizona Coyotes draft situation. Yeah, it's been nuts, hasn't it, Jake? That's it. No one offered them more. I don't know. Sometimes we get information about that, right? But I haven't heard anything just yet because this, yeah, I know, right? This all just broke right now. So here we are. Let's unwrap this a little bit. But yeah, Pierre Dorian. You know, people were laughing at this guy when the Sens had to enter a rebuild, but he's made out pretty damn well. Pretty damn well. Although now this, I think, decreases the likelihood that the Senators would be in on Erik Karlsson. Look at, oh my goodness, look at this, guys. Look at that. 2 first-round picks. Again, this is conditional, but I think it's going to stay 2023. And then they have 3 third-round picks. And then look at the next 2 years. They have 4 second-round picks and 3 third-round picks next year. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Hey, Owen, thanks for hopping in here, man. You're in Mexico for your aunt's wedding. Well, felicitaciones to your tia. Congratulations to her. All right. How's Cortana doing? Great. We just had x-rays today, 2 months after her surgery. Everything is going according to plan. And yeah, she's almost back to her old self. She's doing wonderful. NP, that's me. Insane that the Yotes didn't get much more than the Wings for a better defenseman. I mean, Hronik's had a heck of a season too, so they sold high. Plus, Hronik had an extra year on his contract. I know Chychrun does have 2 more years, though, I think. Arizona's stacked with picks. Yeah, absolutely. How about that? Could that help the Senators get into the playoffs? I don't know if Chychrun is enough to set them over the edge personally. They're not out of it entirely, but man, there are a lot of cooks in the kitchen vying for a spot there. Absolutely. All right. Wow. Let's see if we can get some more information from Twitter here. And thank you for your patience as I swap between my resources, as you would say in Canada. All right. So we're here. Yeah, I got to refresh Twitter here. There's our guy, Matt, the AZ Sports guy. Hey, guys, if anybody has any interest in a take from a great Coyotes fan, this guy here, the AZ Sports guy, is your destination on YouTube. So give him some love. Subscribe. He's going to be covering this entirely. What is more polarizing, the Tanner Jeannot return or the Chychrun underwhelming return? All right. Well, let's see here. Do we have any more conditions? Not just yet. It doesn't look like it. We'll look into this if there are any other details surfacing, because sometimes they throw in an extra minor leaguer or something like that. Like the Timo Meier trade, there were minor leaguers who were involved as well. So we'll jump into that in addition to just overall reacting to, again, what I think could be the last big domino at the trade deadline falling here. Do I like StreamYard? Oh, yeah, StreamYard's great. I absolutely love StreamYard. Anyway, just make sure. I want to make sure I can get both my YouTube chat and my StreamYard chat. That helps a lot. I have to man the battle station here. All right. Buffalo and the Islanders or Buffalo and Pittsburgh. I mean, how crazy would that be if we had 2 teams from the Atlantic, even if one of them wasn't Ottawa? The quick trade, yeah, a lot of people are, of course, crapping on the Kings for how they handled that. Yeah, it is unfortunate that that's how they had to part with Jonathan Quick, and I know the locker room wasn't particularly happy. And Quick, don't forget, even though he wasn't particularly great last year, he actually, no, he had a rebound last season. Like, he did well, and then he played pretty darn well in that first round against Edmonton. Copley, can they really ride Copley if they're going up against, I don't know, Connor McDavid and the Oilers in the first round? I don't know if that's exactly your guy. So maybe not the best move. And we'll see. Apparently, there's interest from the Golden Knights on Jonathan Quick. So imagine if those 2 teams met in the playoffs, and there is a decent chance that they could. You're excited for what Gurrianov can bring the Habs? Last game was pretty good for him. Yeah, nice victory for you, Isaiah. Thank you so much for beating my Sharks and bettering our chances at Connor Bedard. Yeah, it's interesting that there are no prospects, no other roster players involved in this trade from what we've seen so far. All right. How's Chychrun doing on the season? I know obviously he hasn't played the entire year. We'll take a look at that. Add Jakob Chychrun, Chicky Parm Parm. All right. Jakob Chychrun He's still just 24 years old. He's going to turn 25 next month. He's played in 36 games. And I mean, just these baseline numbers right here, right? 36 games on the Arizona Coyotes, 7 goals, 21 assists for 28 points. And his return to the lineup has certainly helped the Coyotes. They've played a lot better in the second half this year. They're really not in the mix for Connor Bedard, even though they could technically still get him. +8 on the Coyotes. Possession metrics just on the surface look really good as well. So he's efficient when it comes to controlling the offense. Don't forget, 2 years ago, he had 18 goals in 56 games. For a defenseman, that's incredible. That's, 26, 27 goals in a full season. And I mean, he could have had even more than. I thought he had over 20. And he was kind of in that Norris conversation for a while there. And this season, he's, kind of getting back to the Jakob Chychrun that we know. You look at, I like looking at the metrics a little bit here. I'm not a big metric snob, but 5-on-5. Look at that. When he's on the ice, 5-on-5, when Chychrun's on the ice, Arizona goaltenders have a .927 save percentage. That's awesome. That's really good. Now, you don't attribute that just to the defenseman, but that is a good sign for a team like Arizona, right? All right. Quick in a nice jersey would be weird, yeah. What time is it over here? 3:22 Pacific time. What do I think of the teams that haven't done anything? All right, Princess Flora. So what would some of those teams be? For one, I think Carolina hasn't done quite enough, though they got Goss to spare today. I still think they needed more size and toughness up front. Losing out on Timo Meier really does sting them, I think. So I think of them. Let me just think here. Probably more so in the Western Conference, right? Colorado made a couple of moves just to kind of fine-tune the lineup. I don't think that they needed to do anything more per se, assuming that they can get Makar back and Landeskog, hopefully. Minnesota, a couple of little fine-tunings as well. Nothing major, though. I maybe would have expected a little bit more out of them, or maybe a little bit more out of Winnipeg. The Knights haven't really... Wait, no, they got Barbashev. Barbashev's good. But yeah, if they could add something else there as well, I think that could benefit them, because now they actually have first-round draft picks that they can trade away if they really want. Montreal is one. Pittsburgh, yeah, Montreal. Edmondson hasn't been moved yet. Good call out. Pittsburgh hasn't done anything either. Yeah, nothing that I can recall off the top of my head. So yeah, Pittsburgh, you could probably criticize a little bit here, considering Washington and also St. Louis and Nashville, teams that are almost perennially in the playoffs. They're finally leaning into this idea of, giving their team a bit of a makeover and getting good assets too. Nashville did a great job of that, especially with David Poile about to step down. Washington has done a good job with it, and St. Louis has done a wonderful job of that. So good call-outs. You don't want the Canes to make any more moves and mess up the chemistry? I don't know, man. That's a team that if they're not putting goals in the back of the net, they get frustrated in the postseason. I'm a little bit concerned, but I do wear my emotions on my sleeve with Carolina a little bit. The Caps were looking to get Chychrun. Yeah, I had seen one of the top sources mention that as well. There were a couple other teams in the mix, but yeah, I am surprised that it wasn't the LA Kings. But then again, the Gavrikov trade had happened yesterday. Thank you, Samantha. What do I think Edmonton has up their sleeve? Edmonton. I'm trying to think if there are any other forwards that they could add to the lineup, because now they got their defenseman. Goaltending is on the rise for them. It's been a little bit better as of late. Yeah. Big shout out to our guy Flying Fluffy. That's Jaws on the channel Flying Fluffy. So gifting 5 memberships. Just want to thank you very much. I appreciate your support, Jaws. Guys, I do highly recommend going to Flying Fluffy Sports, because he covers the Florida Panthers and he's hilarious and big friend and fan of the channel. And yes, please keep the chats PG. Thank you, moderator. So if you were gifted a membership, send me an email. You can see my email in the description down below, and I can hook you up with an invitation to our members-only Instagram chat group, where you have a chance to interact with me more frequently and with other wonderful hockey fans as well. So new members, welcome. I'll be sure to make up a community post to welcome you to the group and give you some next steps over there. Toria, what's going on? Jose, how we doing? Yeah, you think you're going to go to the playoffs, huh?
Playoffs?
Hey, good luck to them, right? The Senators, I miss the good old glory days. Heatley, Alfredson, Spezza, Patrick Lalime in goal. Radek Bonk, greatest hockey name of all time. All right. But yeah, getting back to Slapshot, I don't know if the Oilers are going to land any other bigger fish. I mean, we're pretty much depleted of the big names at this point, too. Vernon, how we doing? Thanks for hopping in here. What do you think about this trade deadline, guys? This trade deadline's been awesome. We've got 70 of you hanging out with us here. Holy shit. And Nick, I know we just said keep it PG, but remember, back when I grew up, you could say the SH word in a PG movie. But Nick, thank you so much. Thank you so much for gifting that. Let's throw it down for our brothers Windy City and Flying Fluffy gifting out the memberships. You guys are amazing. And yo, speaking of Windy City hockey, guys, he's covering the Blackhawks. They've got quite a lot of big decisions to make in the offseason, especially now that they'll be without Patrick Kane and most likely Jonathan Toews. So give our guy Windy City Hockey a sub on his channel. He's covering the Blackhawks every single game and through the offseason. And he's a big fan of the channel here too, big friend of the channel. And yeah, thank you so much, Nick. Let's get Nick to 1,000 subscribers. He's a Nick as well. All right. I know lots of people are hanging out with us. It's great. I can't get to everything, okay? But if, of course, you want me to read your comment and give a thoughtful weigh in thoughtfully, just toss a couple bucks in the super chat. I'll get to as many comments as I can, though, okay? Good evening. Seattle is going to make any moves. They need a face-off guy. Constable 76. You know what? I got to applaud the Kraken. First of all, they got Tolvanen. That helped. Martin Jones actually helped them for a while there, even though the numbers aren't particularly great. I think that Ron Francis is playing this well. The Kraken, and I would definitely say the Devils, have been playing with house money. They weren't supposed to be at this point just yet. So I think they should just ride it out with what they got, enjoy all of the draft picks they have left, and then they can start getting aggressive next year, especially if a team like Vegas falls off in the next year or two. So I wouldn't be panicking if I'm a Kraken fan. Greetings from the other side of Kraken territory, kind of where it intersects Flames territory, just over the Washington border. How we doing, Jake? You're a Caps fan? It's all over the place right now. Yeah. I mean, this could be a transitionary period for Washington, and they kind of have to do that with 3 more years left of Ovechkin. Can they retool this team and get them back into a very strong playoff position in the next 2 seasons while Ovi is still on the roster and hopefully, breaking the goal scoring record pretty soon. Stay the course if you're the Kraken. Yeah, I think that's probably the way to do it too. Steven, what's going on, man? Wait, Steven, I can't remember. Are you a Preds fan? Yeah, you're Predators. There we go. Okay. Hey, great job from David Poyle. What a way to walk out. I'm just writing a message. We need to do a new community post for all our new members. So thank you to our friends for gifting those out. All right, there we go. Okay. What we got here? Oh, Samantha, you got access to the membership. Awesome. Hey, happy to have you aboard for that. Chychrun and Kachuk, you're a fan of this axiom? All right. The pride of Boca Raton, Jakob Chychrun. All right. I got to go back to my Twitter just to make sure there aren't any other major moves here. Let's take a look, guys. All right. Good for 1 free month. Exactly, Samantha. So it's a bit of a trial, right? And for as little as $3 a month, anybody here can become a member and get exclusive content and more interactions with myself and with outstanding individuals in our community. All right, big trade. Indeed, Lindsay. Indeed. Hi from Sweden. Hey, how you doing? Thank you so much for joining us here. It was funny because my friend and I were texting back and forth. We were saying that possibly the Senators could have been in on Erik Karlsson returning back to Ottawa, but now, of course, that's not going to happen. Ottawa, oh my lord, yeah, making a big splash. I mean, do you think the Senators have a chance of making the playoffs? Could it happen? Here, let me throw up a poll. We'll see what you guys think. All right, and let's see here. Okay, I just wanted to have a clever response, but I couldn't figure that out. All right, let's ask you guys in the poll here. Can the Senators actually make the playoffs? Besser trade coming. Actually, yeah, Daniel, that's a good point. Do you think that the Oilers could get Besser? We were talking about them just a couple minutes ago. How can you use the member emojis? If you go through the emoji library, there should be a separate section for them, or just if you can search you can actually search in the emojis. You can search like TWH, like Twisted Wrister Hockey, because that's how we like label our emojis. What do the Sabres do now? Yeah, John, I was thinking that they'd be big buyers at the deadline, considering all the cap space they have, and just really just punch their way into the playoffs for the first time in 12 years. But even though they're not doing that right now, they're in such a great situation. They could even make moves at the draft. And of course, we got to definitely keep our eye on Patrick Kane in the offseason to see if he would stay with the Rangers or if he wants to go back home, because they'll have that opportunity. The East is so strong this year. Absolutely, Tom. Completely stacked. Incredible, like how many big names have moved into the East. But I mean, Timo Meyer, Patrick Kane, Ryan O'Reilly, Vlad Tarasenko, Tanner Jeannot. I know I'm even missing a couple of names. Do I still see like the Wild going after Besser? Considering they got Nyquist, I would think not. Besser has more term on his deal, but they just gave up. I forgot what they gave up for Nyquist, but they gave up a third for Johansson as well. If I'm Bill Guerin, I'm standing pat right now. Maybe go after Besser in the offseason. But yeah, I'd like him to go back home to Minnesota. He's a good dude. How big of a dub is it for Dorian to protect those picks in the trade? Yeah, I was a little bit confused on the terms of that sort of thing. It seemed like that 2023 first will stay 2023, but let me know if I'm kind of twisting my facts here. Did this really happen, Danelle? Yes, absolutely. I found out actually on the Ottawa Senators Twitter. I think they broke it before anybody else did. Let's see here. Shane. Oh, Shane. Okay. I wonder which team you're a fan of. Winnipeg Jets. We held onto Chychrun too long and the well dried up. Yeah, it's kind of unfortunate that they didn't just hold him out until like the end of the season. I mean, I don't think it's exactly fair for them to be able to do that for trade related reasons over as many games as they did. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, though, you can't complain when you look at the overall stockpiling of draft picks from Bill Armstrong. I mean, take a look at this. You got 4 second-round picks in 2024. Unfortunately, those aren't for this upcoming draft, which, of course, is going to be a big draft. But even so, the Coyotes are going to have opportunity. And by the time some of these draft picks mature, then, hey, we can hope that they're going to be playing in a new arena. You know, I do have a soft spot for the Coyotes, for sure. They were the first team that I ever saw that wasn't my favorite team, the Sharks. I went to a game way back in the day, 1997, and I saw them wearing the Cachinas, and they played the Sabres, who were wearing the goat head jerseys. Isn't that amazing? I still have my ticket, and I have my program. I don't know if you can see it, but I actually have my program from that game on the wall. Do you renew the membership every month? I don't know exactly how it works, Samantha. I think you have to opt in to renew the membership. It's not because it doesn't take your credit card information or anything like that right now. Nyquist was for a 5th. Okay. And that's basically for just a playoff run because he's not playing right now. I'm a fanatic. Me? A hockey fanatic? I'm a fanatic for wonderful folks like yourselves. But yeah, that's what you got to do, right? Will Chychrun have his place on power play 1 since they're running Shabbat and ADB at the blue line? Oh, I don't even know who ADB is. Even though I'm rocking the Sens jersey, it's been a long time since I could really tell you a thing or two about Ottawa. But yeah, you would think. Let's see how is Chychrun on the power play. Let's see what he's done with Arizona, right? Let's see if this guy does some quarterbacking there. So Chychrun this season has 4 power play goals, and he has 3 assists. So he's not afraid to pull the trigger. So yeah, you would think that he's going to get at least on a second unit. I need to commit to the Sens. Hey, man. I have a little bit of a nostalgia for the golden era, right? With Heatley, Alfredson, Spezza, uh, Wade Redden, Patrick Lalime, and of course the great Radek Bonk. DeBrincat. DeBrincat's a free agent at the end of the year, right? Lindsay, spot on. Absolutely spot on. All right. The East is stacked and the West looks weak. Yeah, for the most part. I mean, I think the Avalanche could. They have the potential to steamroll in the Western Conference this year, but they'll have a good challenge ahead of them, whoever they go up against. To the quick trade, yeah, I was asked about this a few minutes ago, but yeah, it's a little alarming considering Quick. Last season, I know that this year he hasn't been good, but he was decent for them last season, kind of a rebound year. He goes up against the Oilers in the playoffs and really was a big reason why that went 7 games. And they didn't even have Drew Doughty. So I think they should have held on to him just for that, to be honest. I don't know if Phoenix Copley is somebody you can ride to a Western Conference final. Avs or Vegas, if they're fully healthy, yeah, that's going to be a big factor. Because the way their roster is right now, I just don't know if that's enough. But, I mean, they've done a really good job rebounding after last year. Ekholm being traded to Edmonton, a little bit more of defensive insurance. I think that's a good move. And I don't think they overpaid on him, too, because he's got some term on his deal. Gibson to the Leafs. The thing with Gibson is that he just doesn't know how to stay healthy. And considering the Leafs have had a little bit of injury problem with Murray already, I just don't know if they can get the right price for someone like him. All right. Should the Rangers trade for Stamkos and Kucherov? What? My mind has been officially boggled. But I'd say no. I mean, as long as Vasilevsky is your goaltender, don't get rid of him. Goes from sunny LA to Columbus. Well, I mean, there's interest in the Jackets flipping him to another team. Even Vegas came up in those trade talks. Imagine if Quick went to Vegas, started the series against them, and went 20-12 on LA. That'd be nuts. The Avs are going to turn on the Blasters and destroy everyone in the stretch in the West. I mean, they're doing this right now without Landeskog and Makar. So there's a good chance. Brady Tkachuk's the real deal. Well, we got to see how he does in a playoff role, right? That's when you know someone's the real deal. Watch DeBrincat come back to the Windy City. I mean, Chicago's going to have all the cap space, and he hasn't fit like a glove on Ottawa just yet. Okay, the 2023 first round pick is top 5 protected if the Sens make the East Finals this year. The second round pick becomes a protected first. All right. I'll leave that up there for a little while for that to digest. Bruin, what's going on? Thanks for hopping in. Copley looked lousy against the Jets last night. That game was crazy. Man, it tells you we're in a totally different era of NHL hockey when Anze Kopitar in his mid-30s pots 4 goals and his team doesn't even win. Pretty nuts, eh? Who's going to be on the first line, Chychrun or Chabot? I mean, my thought is you still keep your workhorse Chabot, and then you put Chychrun maybe in the second pairing. But yeah, I wouldn't think that both of those guys would play together so much because they can, both of them are offensively gifted, and you don't want to, when you put those two together, that doesn't always work. I know this is not the best comparison, but in San Jose, having watched, Carlson and Burns on the same power play unit, that just did not work whatsoever. So I wouldn't tamper with that sort of thing. The Eastern Conference, yeah, absolutely. It's going to be bonkers, man. Thank God I work for myself because those games in the playoffs, sometimes, down the stretch, those games start at 4 p.m. And so if I still had a job and was still working that, then I wouldn't be able to pay as much attention. But now working for myself, this is much, much better. Domi, he wants to sign one. Good. I mean, he could get a nice little payment there, and he knows that he's not going to stay there forever. Local teams who won the trades between the Devils, Sharks, and Rangers and Blackhawks. Yeah, I mean, I could even say who won, who came out on top in the Metropolitan Division just from the trade deadline. Devils, though, I think for them to not have to cough up any of their top 5 prospects absolutely fantastic of them. Great job there by Tom Fitzgerald, right? It's not Ray Shero anymore, right? So that's wonderful. And they get a great player out of it. Timo's going to be an absolute bulldozer down in the crease. He can still skate pretty well too. So that's great. And I'd say they won that trade easily. Rangers and Blackhawks. Yeah, the Rangers won. They had the bargaining power in that deal because Kane didn't want to go anywhere else. Islanders. It'd be interesting to see if they entertain trading Horvat, but I don't think that they're there right now. Flipping him to another team. The good thing for them, and Engvall actually was kind of a sneaky good pickup for them. I still think they really need to remake that team. I don't see them going any further, honestly, but at least those guys can help them during the retool. They can be good players for that roster. All right. Is that right, Drunk Vigo? What new city in Canada would no Quebec? Yeah, of course, maybe Metro Toronto getting a second team. Saskatoon, right? They almost got the Blues back in the day. As an LA fan, cannot believe they couldn't beat the Senators for Chychrun. Yeah, I'm a little bit alarmed by that as well, considering all the good prospects that they have over there. Did LA have cap room? I thought that they could make this work. It's only $4.6 million, right? Yeah, Wayne, I hear you. Wayne, how are you now? Sorry, it's so many great comments and questions here. Again, if you want to make sure that I read your comment, toss a couple bucks in the super chat. I'll be sure to do that. Otherwise, I'll get to as many of these as I can. Riz, the Rizza says, Chychrun price solidifies Arizona continuing to be bottom tier for the years to come. Yeah, but you got to hope that at some point they're done trading for prospects, because look at this, right? Best case scenario, they use. Wait, sorry. Okay, I think we're looking at my cap friendly tab now. Yeah, look at all these picks, right? If some of these talents can mature by the time they get in a new arena, that could actually, produce a good situation for them. Chychrun smash. The best prospect pool in the league. It's considered to be Buffalo. Minnesota's up there as well. Anaheim, if you want to still count guys like Zegras and McTavish as prospects, right? Because, they haven't played for very long. They're still very young. So, yeah, those are kind of the top teams. Habs are still at least toward the top. New Jersey, even though they had the Timo Meier trade deal, they didn't give up any of those top guys. The top prospect that they dealt was maybe their third best defenseman in the system, even though he's still in the top 75 among players under 23. So boom. McCabe is a great fit in Toronto. Yeah, Dubas pulled some strings, and yeah, he had to give up some assets in return, but I think that he made out pretty well. Red Deer, 3 Alberta teams, that'd be insane, considering they're only a couple hours apart from each other. They made it work by trading quick. You mean if they wanted to get Chychrun, you think? Do I think Toronto would need... What? I'm sorry if I'm reading that wrong, Makar. Who do I think Toronto would need for their team, and why? I just don't know, who else could they get out there? They got Gustafsson for offense on defense. They got Luke Shen for physicality on defense. They got O'Reilly for great all 3 zone play. I just don't know if you want to add anybody else there, because you don't want to shake up the roster too much. Looks like the deadline for Friday is going to be boring. Probably right, Danelle. I have a stream scheduled. I don't know if I'll run it, but I'll keep my ear to the ground if we can expect any big moves. And in that case, I would go live just like I am right now. We got 140 of you beauties watching us here. Thank you so much for being here. If you want more coverage of the NHL season, including predictions during the playoffs and streams during the playoffs and that sort of thing, you know what to do. That's how we do it here on this channel. Also, guys, I'm gonna do a quick little plug here, and this one you'll like, okay? We've got a second channel, and it's a sports channel. Very different content, though. We're talking about kind of documentary-esque productions. We just released our newest video today, a new video every month, and it's on sports. It's not just hockey. So if you want a different flavor of what I have to offer, then boy, do I have a channel and a video for you. All right, so subscribe to our second channel. Oh, Frank with a 2 spot. Geez, Florida could have done this. They flunked. Yeah, I mean, only 4.6 million on the cap for 2 seasons after this. So here's our new channel if you want to give that a peek. Besser or Miller? I have not heard anything really substantial for uh, either of those two players. Although, I mean, by this time, it's kind of alarming that Besser hasn't been dealt, just because he just hasn't been a fit ever since his rookie year for the most part. But thank you so much, Frank. I appreciate that. And too bad Florida really couldn't do anything just with the fact that they have no first round draft pick until 2026. Rangers going to win tonight. Is Kane going to play tonight? Is it a home game? Then I would absolutely say yes. Wayne with the 10. Thank you so much, Wayne. That's what I appreciate about you. You got a question for me? Let me know. Thank you, guys. I am a full-time content creator, so you are the ones who make this all possible. So thank you. Ollie, how we doing? Thanks for hopping in here. What's going on? Nick, how you doing, Mr. Harvey? Please acknowledge my presence. You asked politely, so how could I refuse that? Kane isn't playing today. He's going tomorrow. Okay. And hopefully that hip is, any nagging problems with that, we don't see any resurfacing. Joanne, how we doing? Thanks for hopping in here. Hope you're enjoying coverage of the NHL Trade Deadline. It has been nuts. Lindholm or Toffoli can legitimately still play for Carolina. Toffoli he could have fit in with that team pretty well. Lindholm, a little grittier. I think that could be a big pickup, but the asking price might be too much for Carolina, considering they bowed out of the Timo Meier sweepstakes. I don't think they would have had what it took to trade for Lindholm. I don't think they would have expressed a need for him that badly. I think they need someone even like nastier. The fact that Tanner Jeannot went to the Lightning, if Carolina would have had a chance to pick him up, I think that's the kind of player that they've been missing the past couple of years, albeit they wouldn't have traded for nearly as much, or they wouldn't have sent nearly as much to Nashville as Tampa did. Hey, what's going on? What's going on? We got Steven. We live in a world where Tanner Jeannot fetched a better return than Jakob Chychrun. Yeah. I mean, he garnered nearly the best return of the trade deadline. How about that? Canadian A, how we doing? Thank you. Canucks fan, the Hronek deal. Yeah, that is interesting. Hronek is still pretty young, so he can help the team go through a bit of a rebuild or retooling, whatever you want to call it. For a first and a second, he's got another year left on his deal. I mean, they did have to give something up, but I mean, he had a great season. No denying that. So it's not the biggest loss. But still, I think that Vancouver still has to expect that there are going to be some growing pains. The Dodonov trade, yeah, I do. Dodonov, he's been kind of tailing off. Really liked him in Florida for the most part. And yeah, you get somebody like Gurianov who has his flashes in the pan at times. But thank you, Jordan. I appreciate that. I appreciate this super chat. Nick, what's going on? Let's see here. For some reason, let's see. Come on. There we go. Okay. What do I think of the possible change with YouTube? I have no idea what that's about. YouTube needs to fix its age restriction BS first, though, because they can just F right off for that. It's ridiculous what they're doing to creators. Anyway, I'm not going to get into any more of that. To be buyers in Vancouver. Yeah, I mean, that is, he's somebody who can, I'm interested to see if Hronek would play with Hughes. I wouldn't think so, though. I don't know. Let me know your thoughts on that. Here we go. Joanne asks, is Thompson the future for the Sabres? Yeah. I thought he was a flash in the pan last year, and he's getting even better. He's awesome. I mean, and to do that with such with such a huge frame, right? 6'7". I think, him and Tuck have a great thing going on over there in Buffalo. And it's only going to get better with all the young talent that they have and that they haven't even brought up yet. So why not? You like the Larkin signing? Yeah. 8.7 annually, right? The 71. Look, I mean, they kind of turned things around a little bit past the midseason mark. and it's an appropriate deal for your captain and for somebody who's in the prime of his career. It's just about right. The cap's only going to go up further. Can't be that bad, right? The Senators of all teams, that is surprising. I agree, Nathan. That does surprise me as well. Yeah, Ottawa, they've taken a step forward this year. Still haven't gotten to that level where they can be confidently inserted into the playoff picture, but hopefully that happens next year. Devils will not have Meyer in the lineup just yet. He's still hurt. Okay, yeah, you don't want to rush Timo Meyer back. You certainly don't want to do that. And he hasn't had nagging injuries or anything like that before, so he's fine. Because of that 2 wins of Dallas, our playoff contenders. Is that who they recently beat? Dallas just can't buy a win right now. Not in regulation. Yep, Kane and Panarin coming back together. But has there been any confirmation on whether they're going to play together or not? Buffalo's going to be scary next year. Yeah, I could definitely see that for sure. They're so much fun to watch already. The return on Gostisbehere. I'm not a fan. Felt like they could have gotten a little bit more. I actually agree with you. Ghost has kind of resurrected himself in Arizona. And I mean, granted, what kind of opportunity will he get with Carolina? Because that top 4, you don't want to tamper with that whatsoever. So I think that when you consider the role he'll play in Carolina, I think a third seems appropriate. But given what he's done the last 2 years over there, and what has been given in other deals, then yeah, I agree with you. I think it could have been a little bit more. Ghost went for a third. I think it's for this year, but correct me if I'm wrong, because that is very frequent here. Arizona held out that long for a bad return. I thought that they wanted a prospect and a ready player. Yeah, you would hope so, right? Like, who's going to be in the lineup for them going forward? Next year, you would think maybe Logan Cooley, Dylan Guenther. Hey, that's really good, but if you want to give the fans something to be high on besides a new arena, somebody on defense would have been great, really, now that they've coughed up their 2 top producing defensemen. Mark, how we doing? Predicting Canucks are not done yet. Yeah, I've seen one of the top sources say that as well. They're not done. Wings could have had Chychrun. Yeah, I thought that was going to happen. I thought that was going to happen when the Hronek deal got done. But yeah, I mean, defensively, the Red Wings still have enough to look forward to. They signed Wallman. People should be ecstatic about that, especially for that deal. I don't even think it was $4 million annually. Wings trade Hronek. Yeah. I mean, hell, the Red Wings got a couple of nice pieces in return there. All right. Ghost is a perfect fit for the Hurricanes. I mean, yeah, he doesn't. Yeah, you saw with Burns, right? You just got to put him with the right player who's already baked into that system, and they're fine. Burns looks great this year. 13 inches of snow. Oh my God. We got what was it? 2 nights ago, we got 5 or 6 inches. So yeah, that was good. I like some fresh snowfall. All right. GB 99 says, who do I think the Pens can get now that JC's off the table? When I see JC, Jakob Chychrun, I was like, wait, you're not referencing Jeff Carter, are you? Dude, I don't know. I honestly don't know. The Pens don't really have a lot of wiggle room. What is their draft situation looking like? Because it's not like they can trade away much in the way of prospects. Pittsburgh. Okay, they still have their firsts and that sort of thing. So yeah, Pittsburgh could get somebody. Would they benefit from a Brock Besser? I'm not entirely sure. I think they need. I'm not too well versed on Pittsburgh, but if I'm them, maybe a bigger presence, a more physical presence on defense. That's probably what I would offer up. But that's about it. I don't know. Let me know if you have any further thoughts on that, though. Yeah, you didn't give up anybody on the roster, Double D. You're good. The Avs getting Eller. Hey, Eller is a good guy to have on your team in the playoffs, right? Scored the cup-winning goal back in 2018. Wasn't exactly, the best player this year. He is tailing off a little bit. But come on, the Avs, they're going to find a way to make it work with him. Toronto, will they make any other moves? Sarah, it'd be surprising if they did. I mean, if we're talking about somebody to play in the top 9 or somebody to play on the first 2 defensive pairings, I'd be stunned. They've made a couple of big splashes though. Kind of sucks to see Sandin go, but they were definitely productive over the last couple of days. Bigger deal this year. Connor McDavid netting 50, or the Avs' third best player, Rantanen, getting 40. I would think that Connor McDavid to be at 50 right now is pretty surprising. Rantanen has been the big constant for the Avs this year. So for him to be at 40 at this point doesn't surprise me quite as much, I don't think. You're in the high desert in Cali, and you got some inches. Yeah. Right on. I am originally from the Golden State. Let's see here. Do the Caps have anything else up their sleeve? Let's see here. They moved Eller, Hathaway, and Gustafsson. Let's see here. Do you think they could get any value for Charlie Lindgren? I don't know. There's still a couple teams out there who I think could benefit from for a goalie, right? I mean, the Kings trading away Quick was a little alarming to me. Would they go after Charlie Lindgren? I don't know. You wouldn't make any moves. You don't want to risk screwing up the current chemistry. Well, yeah, they're in a tough spot because it's like when you see the rest of the division, the top 3 teams ahead of them, there is quite a gap there. And if you miss the playoffs, maybe that's even for the better because you'll get a better draft pick. And I could see, you see a couple teams sort of reloading themselves now that they're just kind of on the fringe of the playoff picture. And while, Malkin and Crosby are still producing, you want to give them that opportunity. And you could still possibly do that a year or 2 from now. Chychrun would have been a good fit for Buffalo. I mean, they're pretty stacked with young defensemen already. I mean, they could have made it work, though, right? Because they have all the bargaining chips that they would want. What's really left on the market? Yeah, I really don't know how to pinpoint it. Go Sens. Jets need to do something. Yeah, I'm surprised that we haven't heard their name surface quite as much after the Niederreiter deal, because Cheveldayoff was a genius, only having to send a second rounder because Niederreiter has another year on his deal as well, only at $4 million. Vancouver got Hronik to replace Luke Shen. I mean, different kinds of players, but the defense is a little bit deeper with him there because, he's had a really good year. It's been the best year of his career, probably. All right. Happy for the boys because they swept Detroit. I don't know who your team is, Double D. I would think the Avalanche, just because we've talked about that rivalry so much over the last year here. GSG. Oh, go Sens. Okay, got it. All right. Josh Anderson. Guys, please give up a first for him. I mean, doesn't he still have a couple years left on his deal? What is Josh Anderson's situation? His name kind of flutters out there once in a while. Okay, Habs. They're pretty good on draft picks. Josh Anderson has still 4 more years left, though, at 5.5. At 28 years old. I don't know. You would maybe need Montreal or somebody to eat a little bit more of that salary. I don't know. I really liked him when he was on Columbus, though, right? That's where he was in the first place, I think. By the way, looking at our poll here, 64% of you have said that the Senators are legitimately in an opportunistic situation to compete for a playoff spot. That surprises me, actually. What is Stevie Y going to do next? I mean, I think the Red Wings are just about where they need to be right now. They're competing for a playoff spot. They've got Larkin locked up long term. They still have, great prospects and that sort of thing. I don't think they should mortgage their future. It's not like they have a surplus of draft picks even after the Hronik deal. Let's take a look at Detroit. It's great that we're talking about the Red Wings this late in the season, isn't it, guys? And we're not talking about them tanking. Look at that. They're going to have a great draft ahead of them. I don't do anything with those draft picks at all. JT Miller for Pittsburgh. Wow, that's a really long contract, though. I mean, they've got a couple other veterans locked up pretty long term, so I couldn't see them biting on JT Miller per se. The Flames. Yeah, the Flames are a tough one, Josh. Who did they move? Didn't the Flames move somebody? I'm drawing a blank right now. Would they fire Daryl Sutter? Man, it's been a huge disappointment. They were my preseason pick to win the Stanley Cup. And they haven't made any progress trying to catch up to any other teams in the playoff race. So there's a little bit of a gap there, honestly. So I think that they kind of have to ride with what they have, and if because you don't want to be sacrificing anything that you have right now only to miss the playoffs. You know, they've done nothing so far. Exactly. I just don't know if I could see that happening, man. All right, let's see what else do we have here. You just gotta take a breath and catch up here. Still got 128 of you. It's awesome. What are we on for time? Oh, it's 4:02. Okay, might need to duck out before 4:20. Is Toronto going to make it past the first round? Well, Sarah, I think that the way they're making a sincere effort to overmatch Tampa. I would still put my money on Tampa just because of history and that sort of thing. And Jeannot could be a really good fit for them. And just the Lightning know how to clamp down defensively. So I'm inviting the Maple Leafs to prove me wrong. And honestly, if they do beat Tampa, I won't be all that surprised. But if I were a betting man, I would still put money on the Bolts. It sucks that they have to play again in the first round from that standpoint. But they are making a sincere go of it, and they really do need to, because if they can't win at least a round, next season, all we're going to hear about is where Austin Matthews is going to sign in 2024. Montreal wouldn't be that interested in dealing Anderson. Yeah, I'm still thinking that Edmondson would be one of the names out there that could still be dealt. Ottawa was heating up. You mean you could see the trade on the kind of coming on the wall here? The writing was on the wall. Detroit getting clapped twice by the Sens and also putting 45 shots. By the way, how about the Flames last night? They put on what 55 shots against the Bruins, and what did they do? They flamed out in overtime again, right? Hey, Serial Miller, hey, thanks so much for watching my new video on the new channel. Do I think Toronto will be Columbus in 2019? I mean, but Columbus, the only thing that Columbus really had going for them at that point was like Werenski and Bobrovsky. Toronto's got a much stacked roster. I don't think they're underdogs by that much to go up against Tampa. But wait, sorry. As if they go all in only to come up short. Yeah, it was a big gamble for the Jackets. Whereas with the Leafs, they're expected to actually break through. So I think that Dubas is doing the right thing. Like, even if they do lose to Tampa, I don't think they're going to get the doors blown off them or anything like that. But if they come up short, I mean, it makes sense, right? Because they'd have to play Boston, or even if they miraculously beat Boston, they'd have to play, Carolina or New Jersey or something like that. The East is just so damn stacked. But I mean, it's admirable what Toronto is doing to put themselves in position to succeed. That's what I'm trying to say. The Quick situation. Yeah, I've been asked this a couple times. Yeah, I think this was kind of a bonehead move. I mean, Quick, we know, can turn it to another level in the playoffs. That's what he did last year. When Phoenix Copley is your starting goaltender, I'm just not convinced that that you have everything you need to get through a round. That they're actually good after years of being terrible. Yeah, I mean, this is a great year, right? We're seeing the Sens kind of turn things around a little bit. Buffalo turn things around. Detroit and New Jersey. That's all wonderful to see. Move Tom Wilson. Man, I would be so surprised to see him traded. How's he doing, by the way? I think Holtz in a second, the following year at third. Oh, for Tom Wilson? Shoot, that's almost as much as you traded away for Timo Meier. But yeah, let's look at Tom Wilson. How integral is he to the Capitals going forward? I think if the price is right, the Capitals should entertain a move like that. But sorry, Caps could use some more draft capital, and they have Tom Wilson only next year. Actually, you know what? That's a good point. I think they should definitely consider that sort of thing. And for those assets, Holtz in a second, so they still get someone who should be a top 6 forward. That's not bad. That's not bad. I would entertain that if I were the Caps GM. Chychrun almost got traded for the same thing as Hronek. Just a little bit more, right? And Hronek has one fewer year on his deal. So it's almost like the Senators got the better deal on that, I would think. All right, let's see here. You guys have so many great questions. Hey, thank you, Serial Miller. Cheers to you. Yeah, Klingberg. Yeah, I think Phenom, I want to say that's actually for trade-related reasons. Like, it's been reported that way. But I haven't heard about any takers on Klinger just yet. Buffalo and Detroit. Yeah, CJ. Hey, it's going to be a big changing of the guard for the middle part of this decade, for sure. Yeah, Enraged. I mean, Tom Wilson's kind of a throwback, yeah. I like seeing some talk about the Capitals. We don't get a whole lot of that on this channel. Primarily, I'm based in the West. We have a lot of Western Conference discussion, but this year we're definitely going to pay attention to the East quite a bit. Yeah, Janelle, and kind of flipping that to the West, right? We're seeing the Blues put themselves in a better position to retool, and same thing for Nashville. Talk about the quick trade. Yeah, so Quick going to Columbus, and there's a possibility he could be moved somewhere else. Like the Blue Jackets are open to sending him somewhere, and I heard one team that could be interested is the Golden Knights. And wouldn't that be amazing if Quick was in net for some? I know they wouldn't take Thompson out; he would have to play poorly. But let's say Quick goes in there and steals the series against LA. That'd be hilarious because he did get done dirty. I gotta say, hey, if LA wanted to trade him after last year, even though he was much better, if they wanted to trade him the year before, which they should have done, that would have been a much different story. But yeah, Devils look scary. They lack some experience. And Timo Meier, they brought him in. He's played in a couple of series. All right, and the next 15 games in March are going to be important. Pierre stepped up to ensure the Sens have an opportunity. Yeah, I mean, at this point, they're kind of playing with house money. Everything looked pretty crappy earlier this season, right? They had tons of injuries. I know that's a huge piece of it, but they're coming out of it. And why not go for it? Have some fun with it. And worst case scenario, you've got a defenseman, a Norris caliber defenseman, you could even argue, who is not even 25 years old yet, and you've got him at a really friendly price for the next 2 years. And by the end of that time, maybe the Senators could be a contender in the Eastern Conference. Maybe a little bit more help in goal will help too. What trades have happened so far, says TJ? Well, the big one here, Chychrun moving on from Arizona to the Senators. Holy God, there have been so many trades today. The other big one would probably be Filip Hronek going from Detroit to the Canucks. So a couple of teams outside the playoff picture making some big moves. The pieces that the Kings got. Vladislav Gavrikov, if you're looking for a little bit more productivity from a defenseman, I was surprised just from an analytics standpoint that he was pretty bad defensively this year. But then again, Columbus, not exactly the best team overall. The season before, though, Gavrikov seemed to be quite good. There were other pieces in that deal as well. But off the top of my head, I can't recall. Any team will go to the Flames. Yeah, I really haven't heard about the Flames as either a buyer or a seller at this point. Anyway, guys, hey, it's been a fantastic chat. We've been live now for just about 1 hour. I want to keep it open for going live maybe on Friday if we have other deals that could be happening. So be on the lookout, hit the notification bell. That way you know when I'm going live. And I should also be putting out a video kind of recapping the trade deadline, winners and losers, or like a grades video, right? So we got a little bit more to discuss there. And like I said, we're putting out content throughout the rest of the season. Definitely content and some streams in the playoffs. So if you enjoyed this, hey, show your support with a thumbs up. You know what to do otherwise. We also have memberships if you want to support the channel even further. Just for $3 a month, you get even more interactions with myself and with our great member community. Some wonderful folks who have been a part of the channel for a few years now on that. So anyway, guys, I'd love to keep doing this. Or as Derek Zoolander says, I'd love to continue talking about this conversation another time. You've been wonderful, and I hope you have a wonderful evening ahead. And I'll talk to you again real soon, guys. Catch you later.